Tonight's big stories. 150 graduating civil engineering students from the University of Manila took to Senator Raffy Tulfo's program, seeking help for their school's decision not to let them graduate.
The growth of AI, or artificial intelligence, is enhancing learning today, but it's also posing some academic risks. That said, the University of the Philippines is drafting a policy for the responsible use of this technology.
And catch science at work in this convention that features food and non-food products made from agricultural waste.
Welcome to the show. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Maricel Halili.
And I'm Sean Yao.
This is quite a story to lead off tonight's broadcast.
Maiba naman tayo.
100 graduating civil engineering students of the University of Manila sought help from Senator Raffy Tulfo's program, Wanted sa Radyo. Well, they alleged that they were unjustly prevented from participating in the graduation rites due to a sudden failing grade in 4 subjects.
Lahat po kasi ng opportunities and chances po para makahabol po kami sa graduation is parang sinaraduhan po nila para sa amin. Then on July 10 po, doon na lang po nila ni-release, tsaka nalaman po namin lahat na flat 70 po kami. Hindi lang po sa isang subject, kundi sa 4 po na subject. Almost 95% po ng CE po yung bagsak. 4th year. So ito po is parang 1/4 pa lang po. Yung iba po hindi pa po namin kasama.
According to the students, they took their exams twice in April, but the results were only released in July, showing that they received a failing grade of 70 in all 4 subjects. They claimed that they were not informed of their exam results until recently.
So wala silang pinakitang proof na kayo ay bumagsak.
Wala po kaming ibang
thesis, wala pong project na
wala pong
binigay.
activities, wala pong quizzes, assignments, plates. Talagang major exams lang po lahat.
Adding to their frustration, the students had already paid over 1,800 pesos in graduation fees and had their graduation photos taken. But the university refused to allow them to participate in the graduation ceremony. Along with their parents, the students attempted to get an explanation from the school, but the only option offered to them was to retake the exams in the upcoming semester.
Nag-send po kami ng letter, sir, nung Monday. Kaso ang sabi po nung registrar is hindi daw po sure kung kailan daw po makakausap si madam. And then nung bumalik po kahapon lang, may kahapon po kasi nagpunta na students doon. Ang sinabi pong option lang sa kanila is it's either i-retake lang po talaga yung mga subjects na binagsak. So wala pong binigay na gagraduate kayo.
Senator Tulfo later called on CHED Chairperson Popoy De Vera, who suggested filing a complaint with the Commission to initiate mediation talks with the school's administration. De Vera also mentioned that CHED might issue a show cause order to the university, requiring them to explain the situation and attend the mediation talks.
Ang suggestion ko is nag-file sila ng official complaint sa CHED para may papatawag namin yung school. Pwedeng mag-mediation sila. Either we ask the school to officially reply through a show cause order, or we can call the university official to sit down with the students in a mediation meeting.
Okay, tama.
Kung mag-mediation pa, makakaabot pa kaya sila doon sa March, doon sa
Baka hindi
seremonya?
na sila makamarcha.
Pero feeling ko lahat tayo nakaka-relate dito sa nangyari sa mga estudyante. Ano? Kapag may questionable grade na ibinigay sa'yo, kaya paano talagang, teka, bakit ito yung grade ko? At hindi lang yan, no? Lahat pala ng students, 70 yung naging grade. Hindi 71, 72, 73, 70.
Pare-pare.
So medyo weird daw.
Parang nanghula. Well, I'm a college instructor and I think personally nagre-reflect siya sa professor kapag binagsak mo lahat yung mga estudyante, because what does it say about you as an instruction? Ibig sabihin, wala, as an instructor, wala siyang natutunan from you.
That's true. Ito pa yung weird, no? 4 na subject yata to eh. So hindi lang isang professor, parang ang issue ngayon.
Well, but I also recall pagdating sa graduation, kahit pa paano may special consideration kasi ka-graduate ka
Exactly.
na eh. So,
Sana
I guess,
man lang may pahabol, di ba? Or agahan nila sabihan na, medyo alanganin
Feeling
ka.
ka na.
That's
Ito yung
true.
kailangan mo makuha, di ba?
But what makes me in shock or in awe with this story is that they actually trooped to Senator Tulfo's
All
program.
150 of them.
Di ba? Parang, di ba? Yun yung naisip nilang gawin.
Hindi sila tumakbo sa CHED, tumakbo sila sa Wanted.
Sana kahit
radyo.
pa paano, maayos nila ito at mga plansya at makagraduate ng mga students na yan. Speaking of universities, the University of the Philippines has published a preliminary set of guidelines, not on grades, but on the responsible use of artificial intelligence. The university said that it was considering a policy on AI in response to the rapid development and adoption of the technology, especially in an academic environment. Now, earlier this year, the UP Diliman AI program faculty noted that AI could generate much more than just essays. Several university teachers, including in UP, have reported of students using AI programs like ChatGPT to create their essays for them. Now, amid these concerns, UP released a draft text outlining the principles for responsible artificial intelligence use and development in the university for the public good. For now, the principles outlined by UP do not include specific policies on the do's and don'ts in the use of AI. However, they did lay down the basic points on what constitutes responsible AI use, development, and promotion. Bilang teacher, Mashe, na-encounter mo na ba yung problema na yan?
Wala pa ako
Pinag-isipan mo na ba,
na-encounter na
Mase?
ganyan. Pero actually,
Sure
cause of
ka?
concern siya. Yung pala, nalusatan na ako. Ngayon, gusto kong malaman kung paano ma-identify kapag nagamit mo yan ng mga estudyante, most special.
Kasi pag plagiarize meron, di ba? May
Oo,
program.
meron.
Pero pag
kasi
AI,
yung sa ChatGPT kasi, if you rephrase your question a little bit or if you add specifics, and it can further develop the essay. So, kahit pareho, let's say magkaklase tayong tatlo, pwedeng iba-iba yung i-generate niya ng mga essay.
parang,
Ang
I
galing.
don't want this, but I want that.
Yeah.
Please talk about this, you are wrong. Pwedeng ganon,
Pwedeng
di ba?
ganon. Tapos susundan mo pa ng,
Grabe.
parang can you focus on this topic and less on that topic? Ganon. Ang galing niya, di ba? Okay, eto na. Mase, pwede mo nang itanong. Let's discuss this matter further. We have with us tonight, live via Zoom, Dr. Miguel Remolona, Assistant Professor in the Artificial Intelligence Program and in Chemical Engineering. He is also the Director of the Interactive Learning Center of UP Diliman. Good afternoon and welcome to the Big Story. Professor, may nararanasan na ba kayo? Yes, na mga ganitong nagyayari, students using ChatGPT?
Yeah, with regards to the use of ChatGPT, I think naging issue siya nung beginning nung semester. Like, I believe early January or February this year. There was a call for yung response nga, kaya kami gumawa bigla ng response for yung ChatGPT. Is because, ayun, mapapansin na may mga teachers, may mga students pala, sorry, na nagsasubmit ng essays nila na parang walang sense. So pag binasa ng teacher, parang hindi necessarily connected together yung ideas. Or kulang yung references. Sometimes the references are mali yung construction or hindi talaga nag-exist. So, ayun. So, dahil dun sa ano na yun, sinabi lang namin that similar to Google and similar to Wikipedia, nung lumabas din tong mga to, malaki din yung concern on education eh. Kasi pwede mo nang i-search yung mga bagay na dati, kailangan mo pang mag-research sa library ng pagkatagal-tagal. Ngayon, mas gumanda pa ng konti. Na we can just write our questions or the topics of the essay in ChatGPT tapos magagawa na siya ng essay. So in this case, parang biglang tumalino bigla yung tool natin. But then again, meron pa rin siyang limitations. Like, if you ask it to put references for a more formal submission sa mga academic affairs or sa mga academic na bagay, then it still fails to write these properly. Another limitation of ChatGPT na napansin din namin is, yung isang way pa na para ma-identify, yun yung sinabi kanina, yung question with regards to identifying kung yung work ba ay gawa ni ChatGPT. Kasi magdadagdag lang ako ng konti, mag-iiba na yung topic eh. Pero with regards to that, merong ding tool yung for plagiarism. Nag-develop din sila ng tool for detecting AI writing. So yung ginagawa namin ngayon is we're trying to, at least sa Interactive Learning Center, we're trying to extensively test this AI writing detection tool para ma-check kung gaano ba siya kaganda. Like pag nag-modify ba ako ng sentences, inayos ko yung phrasing, nire-write ko siya, would it still be able to detect it as AI writing or would that consider it to be my writing since may edits na ako na ginawa? So yun yung mga questions na tinitingnan namin and we're still evaluating that.
Kasi nakaka-worry siya eh. Paano pag biglang ginamit ng mga students, how will you identify if gumamit nga sila nung app or not? So, aside dun sa sinabi mo, Prof, na mukhang may nonsense dun sa part ng essay na ginagawa nila, how can we, ano yung noticeable dun sa gawa ng AI na we can easily distinguish na mukhang hindi ito sinulat ng estudyante?
Well, two things yung pwede kong i-note down. The first thing is that usually when yung AI yung gumawa, I think limitation siya to ni ChatGPT. May bagong GPT software na hindi necessarily yun. Pero may limitation si ChatGPT na it won't touch controversial subjects. So if you're trying to make it argue one over the other, medyo hindi yun lalabas. And then the other thing is with regards to references. So usually, pwede siyang gumawa ng mukhang reference na tama, pero sometimes these references do not exist. Nakita niya lang kasi na pwedeng ito yung kasunod nito, or meron siyang certain sets of words that cease together. So nakakagawa siya ng mukhang reference na tama, pero sometimes yung publications don't exist. So if you run it in a plagiarism software, pag hindi plagiarized yung references, alam mo na gawa-gawa lang yung references. Hindi siya necessarily totoong reference. So yun yung dalawang basic. And then again, I mentioned yung plagiarism tool, meron din siyang AI writing detection. So if you are if yung universities natin or merong yung Turnitin yung gamit kasi namin sa UP. So kung meron kayong ganun, meron din silang AI detection. And for right now, they are offering it kasama sa mga concurrent na subscriptions.
So, kasi alam mo na.
Alam na.
Dalawa yun. Hindi ko masyadong controversial, tsaka yung references. Pero I love that you're not having a blanket ban on artificial intelligence, as is the policy of universities abroad. Kaya paano, alam mo yung acceptance na this is here to
It's a
stay.
tool. And it's a tool that people can use. Let's not deny.
That's true, that's true. And UNESCO has released their own statement on this na for AI to be used as a human-centric tool, kumbaga for the enhancement and protection of humans. With that said, what do you think are the blind spots in using AI for research, for academics, for both teachers and students alike? Ano ba yung mga parang concerns natin?
So right now kasi mas focus tayo dun sa, which is understandable, mas focus tayo dun sa potential na hindi natin talaga na-measure yung learning ng students natin, di ba? When they use the tool, when they're using ChatGPT at yun na yung sinubmit nila, may natutunan ba talaga sila? Pero siguro yung isang hindi natin natitignan is how can we ask or even incorporate yung ginagawa ni ChatGPT sa natin, sa education natin. Maybe we can ask them, we can even include na, okay, gawa kayong dalawang essay. Yung isa, si ChatGPT gumawa, tapos lagay nyo yung prompt. Ano yung sinulat nyo na question for ChatGPT, tapos ano yung lumabas. And then, your own version of that essay. Like maybe that's one way we can facilitate na instead of just yung natutunan nila sa classroom or yung natutunan nila by researching, ngayon may dagdag pa na kung ano yung ginawa ni ChatGPT can also help them if they're reading it and then trying to create their own version. They would be essentially forced to fact-check everything. So maybe if approaches lang yung kailangan nating baguhin and try to incorporate these tools in increasing learning and pag-aralan din yun. So hindi lang pag-aralan yung potential downsides but also yung potential upsides and then how we can leverage both. So since it's new, it's something na hindi pa talaga na-explore, it's a good opportunity for us to study it in terms of education.
Right. Professor, mabilis lang, no? Kasi nga nabanggit nga ni Gretchen na ang dami nga nagba-blanket ban. Pero ang UP mukhang hindi nyo gagawin yun. Any idea what these draft guidelines are going to look like? Can you give us a quick picture? O ano ba magiging itsura nito?
Yung draft guidelines kasi ngayon, actually under conversation pa tayo. So we're still, this was developed by ITDC ng UP system. And we're going to consult with them the following week kung ano yung inputs namin with regards to this draft. And then iikot pa yan sa iba-ibang CU on how they think this policy should look like before we get an approval. So siguro baka yung final version nito malayo din dito sa initial version. Ngayon naging public lang siya kasi it's shared with everyone because we wanted feedback for this policy. Gusto namin na medyo democratic yung approach natin on how we're trying to use this. Again, because there's two sides of the story every time. So we wanted to see ano ba yung tingin ng UP population.
All right, we'll just follow up with you, Professor, pag kompleto na yung guidelines. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Dr. Miguel Remolona. Thank you, Assistant Professor in the Artificial Intelligence Program and in Chemical Engineering in UP. All right, we're going to pause for a quick break, but right after that, General Romeo Browner formally takes over as AFP Chief of Staff. Has plans for the military moving forward when we return. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching the big story here on One News. The Armed Forces of the Philippines formally welcomes its new chief, General Romeo Browner Jr. The change of command ceremony took place in Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City earlier today. Browner replaces General Andres Centino, who has been appointed as presidential advisor on the West Philippine Sea. President Bongbong Marcos led the change of command ceremony and retirement honors for Centino, thanking him for a successful tour of duty and his efforts in reducing the presence of local terrorist groups.
Pero matatandaan natin si Centino, twice siya na-appoint as AFP Chief of Staff.
Na-reinstate siya.
Na-reinstate kasi pinalitan siya ni General Bacaro. After 5 months, pinalik. Actually, walang confirmation from Malacanang what was the reason they removed Bacaro from the police. Pero,
Kasi lumabas na ba yung balita kung bakit?
oo, pero merong mga political rumors behind it. Na syempre walang confirmation from Malacanang na ang nag-appoint daw ay natanggal na sa pala.
Parang narinig ko rin yan.
Sinabay doon. But
parang bata daw ni ganito, bata ni ganyan.
Yes, exactly. But no confirmation. So,
pero syempre maraming katanungan tungkol dyan, lalo na sa mga revolving door policy. Pati na rin dun sa pensyon. No? Now that he is AFP chief, which areas will General Browner prioritize? Marian Enriquez has the answer. Go ahead, man.
Yes, Gretch, may pa-acronym pa nga itong si General Bronner. He mentioned 5 focus areas summed up in unity. U is for unification. He wants a solid AFP. N is for normalization, particularly in the Bangsamoro region. This includes disarming and reintegration of former MILF fighters. I is for internal security. The plan is to streamline operations and counterinsurgency by the 3rd quarter. T is for territorial defense through modernization. And lastly, Y for youth. Bronner says he's in favor of mandatory ROTC as a way to prepare citizens not just for the threat of armed attack, but also in times of disaster. Bronner says the AFP will work closely with DepEd to make sure hazing and other abuses won't happen in the program. Gretch.
We definitely saw the political stance of General Romeo Browner, but as to the specific details, we get more details on that. Thank you very much, News 5, Marian Enriquez.
As you know, ladies, sa Monday na ang ating second State of the Nation address ni President Marcos. But just a day after that, he'll be flying to Malaysia for a state visit. And possibly the most significant part of his agenda, promoting the Maharlika Investment Fund. But first, who will the president be meeting during his stay in Malaysia? Well, first up, Marcos will be meeting with the King of Malaysia, Al Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah, who invited Marcos for the state visit. Aside from the king, the DFA says Marcos will also hold a bilateral meeting with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. What are we expecting from their talks? Here's what the DFA said.
He will pursue bilateral cooperation in priority areas that are actually in support of the economic agenda of the country, and that will include agriculture, food security, tourism, digital economy, tourism, and will also focus on people-to-people exchanges.
Now, going back to the Maharlika Fund, the DFA said this will likely be promoted by the president to investors in Kuala Lumpur. Marcos will also speak with business leaders to explore possible economic opportunities for Filipinos. But regarding the territorial issue on Sabah, the DFA says it still doesn't know if this will be discussed during Marcos's state visit.
I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, and it's very difficult to preempt the discussion. So I have no comment on whether it will actually be discussed.
Anong masaya kung hindi ako nagkakamali? Kaka-bilateral talk lang no, ni Prime Minister Anwar at saka ni President Marcos Jr.
Yes, it was way back in March. Bumisita dito sa Pilipinas, sa Malacanang, si Prime Minister Anwar. And the Prime Minister himself said na mag-schedule pa sila for more in-depth discussion about our territorial claims on Sabah, 'di ba? Kasi nagkaroon ng ang kiniklaim kasi natin merong agreement between the Sultanate of Sulu and Borneo.
Tapos nagkaroon ng decision doon.
Yes. And then so sinasabi natin atin 'yon. But the thing is hindi pa rin siya nasusolve up until now, but the DFA cannot give us any confirmation whether or not the two leaders will discuss it during the visit of President Marcos in Malaysia on July 25 to 27.
Kasi nga daw wala nga daw siyang bolang kristal, malay daw ba niya
Oo, malay
kung
daw
talagang
niya.
madidiscuss.
Do you think yun ba talaga pag-uusapan nila? O itong Maharlika Investment Fund, bilang alam natin yung Malaysia na involved din sila, no?
Sa
Pero
1MDB. Pero si ano naman yun? Si Najib Razak, kaya nga siya natalo.
Yung state
Kaya
fund
siya
nila
nakakulong.
was embroiled in controversy.
Yes.
And
Pinanggawa ng ano, di ba?
scandal. Oo. Pero anong narinig mo about that visit? Why Malaysia right after the State of the Nation address?
Actually, before pa ilabas yung plan to visit on July 25, sinabi na talaga na ang initial info na natanggap namin before SONA, aalis na. So, ganun katagal. So, I don't know the exact reason, pero pag-iisipan natin yung timing dahil hinabol yung enactment into law ng Maharlika, tapos biglang Malaysia right after
Pero
SONA.
tama ba, Masena, yung king daw ang nag-invite?
Yes, King ang nag-invite.
Okay, so abangan na lang natin no, kung ano bang detalye ng mga meeting na yan. Pero sa ngayon, commercial muna tayo. Pagbalik namin, the State Weather Bureau warns that Tropical Depression Egay could intensify into super typhoon on Monday. We'll get the latest on the weather forecast when we return. Keep it here.
You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. Baka kailangan nyo girls na mag-grocery run sa mga gamit sa bahay, like mga toothpaste o kaya mga food supplement. Kailangan ba natin yan? Meron ang DOST niyan. Plus, lahat ng items na sustainable. That's because they are made from agricultural waste. Several food and non-food products were featured at the Science and Technology Fellows Convention in Pasay earlier today. There were items like fruit drinks, supplements, sauce and spices, as well as non-food products like toothpaste, mouthwash, and essential oils. Take note that all these were made from organic byproducts like fruit peelings, used cooking oil, and crop residues. Around 10 tons of agri-industrial waste are being recycled per month for these products.
Yung MMIC po, isa po siyang R&D facility na gumagamit po nung akala natin patapon na mga products such as yung mga balat ng fruits, agro-industrial waste, yung mga galing sa agricultural waste po natin, na may bagong use siya purpose. So, into new products na pwede nating gamitin as food or non-food application.
The real question here is, can we see these sustainably made products out on the market anytime soon? Let's get more details from mobile journalist Francis Orsha. Francis, will these be available in stores anytime?
Sean, that's the plan. That's why some stakeholders and business representatives were also present in the DOST event earlier today. The agency is hoping to get this innovation sold to the public soon. But while we have yet to get a timeline on that, the DOST welcomes the feedback and support for Filipino researchers and scientists. The agency hopes that by mounting events like this, there would be more interest on the research and development and possibly higher pay for the people behind these innovations. Sean?
Thanks for that, Francis.
Well, before we go, Mase, you gotta prepare. It looks like we'll have rainy days ahead with Tropical Depression Egay affecting some parts of the country, and it's even expected to intensify into a super typhoon by next week. Tropical Depression Egay was last spotted at 835 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon, and it's packing maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 70 kilometers per hour. Egay is currently moving west-northwestward at 20 kilometers per hour. The current track forecast shows that Egay will remain offshore over the waters east of Luzon, but Pag-asa says a landfall scenario is possible over the eastern portion of mainland Cagayan and Batanes. Egay is forecast to intensify into a tropical storm in the next 12 hours and may continue to steadily intensify and reach super typhoon category by late Monday or early Tuesday. For now, no wind signals are hoisted due to Egay, but it is expected to bring heavy rains over Catanduanes and northern Samar from Sunday to Monday. Meanwhile, monsoon rains will possibly affect Mimaropa and the Visayas this weekend.
That's all the time we have for tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This has been The Big Story. Thank you for watching. Have a good weekend and good night.